Chapter 2. Sun talks to human for first time. Sun giggled softly, tiptoeing through the halls. It was late at night, his ruffles wiggling excitedly. He had masked his scent with some perfume he had found in one of the communal bathrooms. He stopped in front of the human's room, the door not fully closed. He knew he shouldn't be doing this. He knew he shouldn't be actively looking for the human, but he couldn't help it. He always loved humans. They were small and weak in comparison, yet could create magnificent things, like phones or translators. Though the translator wasn't nearly as impressive as the phone, as everyone on the council knew the common language. But the phone? Oh, the phone. Sun loved human phones. They were so interesting and peculiar. He pushed the door slightly open, looking in. The room was all in shades of black, so drab and dreary. Sun licked his lips and drooled a little just thinking about making this space cheerful and joyous. He saw her, the human, just relaxed at a little desk as she tinkered with pieces of metal. She just moved them around and put them together, making little animal designs before taking them apart and making a different design. She was humming softly to herself, wearing black headphones over her ears. Sun snuck closer, watching with interest. She moved the pieces again, making a circle before putting some triangular pieces around it. He tilted his head, intrigued as she seemed to be moving the pieces around to imitate him. She sipped from the black thermos that was on the desk, and he set his hands on her shoulders as he opened his mouth to ask a question. As soon as he touched her, she yelped, elbowing his chest hard before swinging the thermos around. "Holy fucking shit!" she exclaimed in surprise. He groaned, falling back as he clutched the left side of his round face. She had hit him with the thermos, and now his head hurt. He couldn't help but notice how soft her elbows were, as he barely even felt any pain when she elbowed him. "Oh, sorry," she said softly, her hands fidgeting as she winced at the sight of Sun sprawled on the ground. As he sat up, he couldn't help but notice how beautiful her voice sounded, melodic and calm. There was a slight rasp to her voice, and he was surprised that her voice wasn't the typical feminine voice of humans he was used to hearing. "Oh, don't worry about it, dear. I should have announced my presence," Sun replied with a smile as he stood, salivating. Wow, getting hit with that thermos hit, but it felt so good. He wiped his mouth with his long sleeve, bowing with a flourish as he said, "My name is Sun, my dear. I'm the solar half of the celestial Jester twins. And you are?" He gently grabbed her hand, pressing a gentle kiss on the top. She leaned away, wiping her hand on her shirt, not noticing the tinge of pink left behind. I'm Cadence. Why are you here?" she replied, glancing at the door. Sun smiled, his sharp teeth on display as he replied, "Well, I simply wanted to meet the new council member. We weren't able to talk during the meeting, and you disappeared so quickly once the meeting was over." She frowned nervously, her fingers tapping together as she avoided eye contact. "Well, you met me, yay," she replied, doing half-hearted jazz hands. She looked up at Sun, who was nearly twice her height. "Can you go now?" she asked, motioning to the door. Sun smiled, nodding as he replied, "Of course, my dear. Humans direly need their rest. Good night." He bowed from the waist again before leaving, twirling fabulously as he left and closed the door. Later that night, he was sitting on the couch he shared with his brother, holding an ice pack to his head. Moon walked in, looking up from his tablet. "The hell did you do now?" Moon asked, quirking a brow. Sun sighed dreamily, smiling happily at Moon and replying, "I met the human. Her name is Cadence. I startled her and she hit me with her thermos." Sun giggled happily, salivating a bright pink liquid as he firmly pressed the ice pack to his head, licking his lips. Moon started to look angry, and Sun cut him off. "Dear little human is so strong, too. I bet we could find her at the gym." Moon sighed, shaking his head as he scolded Sun. "Sun, I told you to stay away from the human." Humans fear us. You need to stay away from her. You know how much more dangerous the females are compared to the males? And she's strong, too. Sun giggled, licking his lips as he agreed. So very strong. Moon sighed, shaking his head as he said, annoyed. I'm going to bed. Good night. Good night, Sun called, and Moon walked into a different room. Sun sighed, salivating slightly. He got a small napkin, wiping his mouth before he laid out fully, closing his eyes. He couldn't wait to see the human again.